Next week, the brand new Phyrexian set, Phyrexia All Will Be One, will be releasing. And because of that, I've been releasing a series of videos that actually teach people how to speak Phyrexian. The link to that playlist can be found in the description below, but I receive a lot of questions from people asking me how I learned to speak Phyrexian or learn Phyrexian words and phrases. By the end of this video, you're going to know how I discovered these words and phrases and how to pronounce them so that you guys can learn how to speak Phyrexian yourself. What's good, everybody? Thank you for being here. My name is Coach. If you are subscribed to the channel, I just want to give you a big thank you for being subscribed to the channel. I genuinely appreciate it. Just keep in mind that I do take time out of my day and my work to be here and record these videos. So just remember that subscribing is a really quick way of saying thank you to me for taking the time to make these videos. I think in life, when people work to create something and do something, they deserve credit for doing so. I learned how to speak Phyrexian words because of a great Phyrexian teacher, not because I actually did any work myself. You know, your math teacher taught you math, but they never created math. And this person we're going to be talking about in this video is my Phyrexian language teacher and will also be your Phyrexian language teacher as well. And this individual's name is Fernando. You know, I actually had the opportunity to email Fernando. I actually offered to pay Fernando to teach me how to pronounce Phyrexian words, in which he just stopped replying to my emails. So I had to teach myself. But at the same time, none of this and none of those videos would be possible. The ones I made teaching people how to speak Phyrexian, none of them would have been possible if it was not for Fernando. And I think that Fernando's YouTube channel is called The Highly Entropic Mind. The link to his channel is going to be in the description below. I highly suggest that if you're interested in learning how to speak Phyrexian, you go over to Fernando's YouTube channel because it's going to give you a ton of information and you may be able to learn more than I did about how to speak Phyrexian. Now, when we look at Fernando's channel over here, we have a ton of videos. You know, the word entropic actually means chaotic. So it's a highly chaotic mind, which is, there are a ton of videos here that are of varying topics. What's important here is, why we're here is to learn how to speak Phyrexian. But there's one thing in one type of video in particular that I found most interesting. And that is going to be something that I'm assuming him and his community worked together to create, which is called the Phyrexian Dictionary. There's a video here that says, I read every Phyrexian word ever and tell you everything about them for some reason. So we're going to click on this. So we got Fernando's video right here, right? So I'm going to scroll down into the info tab. And now you're going to see something here that says download the first edition of the Phyrexian Dictionary, right? So I'm going to click on this, okay? Now we're going to go to a Google Drive page and then I'm going to click on this over here. And what we actually have is Fernando's, basically his study, how he broke down the Phyrexian language and he wrote it out in a way so that we can perceive those words. Now, when we look at this, when I saw this for the first time, it took me a while to be able to kind of look at it and understand what I was actually seeing. But what's interesting is that when we look at this, we have the word that they're looking to pronounce right here. And then we have it used in the context of the actual Magic the Gathering card. And then we have something over here called IPA. And then you see a bunch of these symbols and letters. What Fernando figured out was that the Phyrexian language is written in something called the International Phonetic Alphabet. Now, the International Phonetic Alphabet is a method of allowing people to understand how to pronounce words throughout all languages. So when we take a look at this over here, as long as you would be able to learn how to pronounce these words combined using the International Phonetic Alphabet, that would essentially give you the proper understanding of how to pronounce that word. And when I tell you guys, like, I can click on this and go through all these things, there are literally, quite literally, almost, I would say less than 100 pages, but there are a lot of words inside this document. So there are a lot of ways for you to be able to just say a lot of different things. So I highly suggest that you go over to Fernando's channel and take a look at some of these things, because if you're someone that's looking to learn how to speak Phyrexian, a lot of what is going to allow you to speak Phyrexian, you're going to find from here. Okay. So another thing that I noticed was that Wizards of the Coast actually released their own document talking to people about how Phyrexian language is actually written and created. And the link to this document will also be in the description below. And what that page is a breakthrough in Phyrexian language and communications, right? Which is really interesting, because what they announce over here is that our orthodoxy includes some International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA, but isn't entirely IPA. So what we found out right now is that Fernando found out that the alphabet was written in the International Phonetic Alphabet, and now, as of, when was this, January 12, 2023, this confirms that Fernando was right the entire time, which I find literally mind-boggling, right? This guy, Fernando, is literally a genius, guys. So when we see this over here, you know, these are a lot of the words that Fernando had written down in that Phyrexian dictionary, right? So the only difference being that in the Phyrexian alphabet, they have something called metallic consonants. So essentially, they're taking words in that phonetic alphabet and just changing how different letters are pronounced. These metallic consonants are usually done in the Phyrexian language, they say, by grinding. They say that Phyrexian beings have metal in their mouth, which allows them to create certain sounds so that Phyrexian language sounds distinctly different than what we would ordinarily have the even capability of speaking. This little guide right here essentially gives us the ability to be able to figure out what it's like to pronounce each letter properly in terms of what it's like to speak Phyrexian. So these metallic consonants over here, the other metallic consonants over here, and then the vowels, and then they give you a list of words, you know, how it's pronounced and how it's written in the IPA format, how it's actually written in Phyrexian. And then all you would need to do is learn how to pronounce the words in the IPA format, and that would essentially give you the ability to pronounce these words in Phyrexian and speak Phyrexian. So when I made my videos talking about how to speak Phyrexian, I basically just took the words that they had written down, learned how to pronounce them in the IPA format, and then I would essentially then go back to this document over here to see if there were any metallic consonants that would have a different sound than what the IPA would ordinarily have, and change things that I need to change when I needed to. And that's how I got to the point where I was able to create the words that I was looking to create. So that's basically how all of this works and how I learned how to speak Phyrexian. It definitely took me a considerable amount of time to be able to do that, if I'm being honest. But if you want to go on that journey to learn how to do that yourself, the first place I would suggest that you go to is Fernando. His YouTube channel link will be in the description below. Fernando has a Patreon that you can support if you would like to support him that way. You could also just subscribe to his channel right there, just like I just did. And obviously that's going to help him in any way. And, you know, maybe if you guys start messaging him, asking him for more Phyrexian videos, then he might make more, which will help all of us learn how to speak Phyrexian. Okay, so I hope you have an amazing day. All right, always remember, eat healthy. Okay, work out every single day. Okay, and when we talk about working out, you know, something as simple as just sitting down in a chair and standing up for 2 minutes can be considered exercise, you know. And the only reason I mentioned sitting down and standing up is, you know, a lot of people that I work together with in my job, you know, a common thing that I hear over and over again is knee pain. People living with a lot of knee pain. And what's interesting is like the human body is connected in many different ways. So generally, it's what I've seen, it's very rare for someone to experience knee pain and then to find that the problem is actually residing within their knee. You know, when we talk about our knee is a joint that our hamstring muscles connect to, that our quadricep muscles connect to, that our calf muscles connect to, and that our tibialis muscles connect to. So as long as you're able to work on each muscle and make sure that each muscle is sufficiently strong. So specifically for our quadriceps and our hamstrings, for every 3 pounds we lift with our quadriceps, we need to be able to lift 2 pounds with our hamstrings. So there are ratios that exist so that as you're walking and you're moving, it allows your knee to have the proper amount of weight being placed on the bones and the tendons and the cartilage within the knee joint so that you can be free from experiencing any pain. So if you're a person who experiences pain inside your knee, just know that working on your hamstrings, working on your quadriceps, working on your calf muscles, working on your tibialis muscles, and even working on your glutes, whichever one is out of balance, you'll find out. Ultimately though, as long as you work on those muscles consistently for 5 minutes every single day, you'll get yourself to a point where you should be free from knee pain, okay? And the most important thing, guys, you always got to remember to believe in yourself, all right? Peace out, people. Got a question, let me know in the comment section, all right? Peace.